Today we would like to perform 7 stories of Lord Ganesha. Our tiny tots would love to share the knowledge on some of the mythological stories of Lord Ganesha and present it in the form of a beautiful performance. We have 7 stories and here comes the first one. Please welcome the participants with a big round of applause. The first story, Lord Ganesha and his elephant head. Let us begin with the story of how Lord Ganesha got an elephant head. One day, Goddess Parvati was at home on Mount Kailash preparing for a bath. As she did not want to be disturbed, she told Nandi,
Nandi, please guard the door for me. I am going for a bath and do not let anyone pass.
Yes, mother.
Nandi faithfully took his post, intending to carry out Parvati's wishes. But when Shiva came home and naturally wanted to come inside, Nandi had to let him pass, being loyal first to Shiva. Parvati was angry at this sight, but even more than this at the fact that she had no one as loyal to herself as Nandi was to Shiva. So taking the turmeric paste from her body and breathing life into it, she created Ganesha and declared,
Ganesha, you are my loyal son from today.
Yes, mother.
The next time Parvati wished to bath, she posted Ganesha on guard duty and said,
Ganesha, please guard the door for me. I am going for a bath and do not let anyone pass.
Yes, mother.
In due course, Shiva came home only to find this strange boy telling him he could not enter his own house. Furious, Shiva ordered his army and said,
Nandi, destroy this boy.
But they all failed. Such power did Ganesha possess, being the son of Devi herself. This surprised Shiva. Seeing that this was no ordinary boy, the usually peaceful Shiva decided he would have to fight him, and in his divine fury severed Ganesha's head, killing him instantly. When Parvati learned of this, she was so enraged and insulted, and she said,
Oh no, my son, you have killed my son. I will destroy this entire creation.
Lord Brahma, being the creator, naturally had his issues with this and pleaded to Parvati Devi and said,
Both, please do not destroy the world.
Oh Brahmadev, I will not destroy the world if Lord Shiva brings back my son to life.
Shiva, having cooled down by this time and realizing his mistake, agreed to Parvati's condition. He sent Nandi out with orders.
Nandi, bring back the head of the first creature that's lying with its head facing north.
Nandi soon returned with the head of a strong and powerful elephant, which Shiva placed on Ganesha's body. Breathing new life into him, he declared Ganesha to be his own son as well and gave him the status of being foremost among the gods and leader of all the Ganas. This concludes the story of how Lord Ganesha got his elephant head. Please give a big round of applause to all the participants. Let us now look at the second story. The second story is about how Lord Ganesha got his vehicle as a mouse and became Mushaka Vahana. Please give a big round of applause and welcome the participants for the second story. There was once a Gandharva named Krancha. Now, Gandharvas are believed to be extremely good looking and talented. This frequently makes them quite vain and proud. This was the case of the Krancha too. In the court of Indra, he once met the sage Vamadeva and filled with pride insulted him. This angered the sage who cursed him and said,
"O Krancha, you will lose your good looks and become a mouse."
Krancha found himself turned into a mouse and ashamed of his appearance ran away. He entered the ashram of sage Parashara and true to his nature in his new form started creating havoc. Meanwhile, Ganesha was paying a visit to the sage. The sage's disciples approached Ganesha and asked him to put an end to the mouse which was wreaking havoc in their well-kept ashram. Ganesha at once realized the true identity of the mouse. Using a rope, he lassoed the mouse and mounted it. Contact with the divine body of Ganesha made Krancha at last realize the error of his ways. Besides, Ganesha was so heavy that he felt himself being crushed. He prayed to Ganesha and said,
"O Lord, please forgive me for my sins. I have learned my lesson. Please accept me as your mount and release me from this misery."
Ganesha relented and made himself light enough for the mouse to bear his weight. And thus did he become Mushaka Vahana, the one with the Mushaka or the mouse as his mount. This concludes the second story of how Lord Ganesha got the vehicle as his mouse. Please give a big round of applause. Once again, please, a big round of applause. Let us now enjoy the story of the race between Lord Ganesha and Subramanya. This story is meant to have created a special religious place called Palani, and it is believed that people from various parts of India visit this holy place to seek the blessings of Lord Subramanya. One day, sage Narada visited Lord Shiva and his family at Mount Kailash.
Narayana, Narayana.
As a token of love, he gave Lord Shiva one special fruit. The fruit was called the fruit of wisdom. Now, there was only one fruit, but Lord Shiva's two sons, Ganesha and Kartikeyan, were there. Shiva and Parvati were confused about whom to give that one fruit of wisdom. Sage Narada thought of a plan and said,
Whoever goes 3 times around the world and return back first will get this special fruit of wisdom.
Soon after hearing this, Lord Kartikeyan sat on his peacock and started his trip around the world. But Lord Ganesha started walking around his parents. Both Shiva and Parvati were surprised to see what Lord Ganesha was doing, and Goddess Parvati asked,
Oh Ganesha, why are you going around us?
Lord Ganesha replied,
Dear mother and father, you both are the world to me. That is why I am going around you.
Shiva and Parvati were impressed by the smartness of Lord Ganesha. So they offered the fruit of wisdom to Lord Ganesha. Later, when Lord Kartikeyan came to know about this, he became very angry and left Kailash. He went and stood on a mountain in South India called as Palani Hills. This incident was a trick played by Lord Shiva and sage Narada to create the special religious place called Palani for Lord Kartikeyan. This concludes the story of the race between Lord Ganesha and Subramanya. Please give a big and a huge round of applause for all the participants. Let us now enjoy the story number 4 of Lord Ganesha and the moon. The story tells us why we should not look at the moon on the Ganesh Chaturthi day. On the day of Ganesh Chaturthi, Lord Ganesha had eaten a good number of sweets given by his devotees, and his stomach was full. He sat on his mouse and was traveling back. Suddenly the mouse stumbled and it had seen a snake and became frightened, with the result that Ganesha fell down. His stomach burst open and all the sweet puddings came out. But Ganesha stuffed them back into his stomach and catching hold of a snake, tied it around his belly. The moon, which was seeing all of this from the sky, started laughing at Lord Ganesha. Lord Ganesha became very angry upon this. He broke his left tusk and threw it at the moon. He also cursed the moon and said, None of my devotees should look at the moon on this day. If they look at it, they will be punished. However, if by mistake someone does happen to look at the moon on this day, the only way he can be freed from the curse is by repeating or listening to the story of Lord Krishna and how Lord Krishna cleared his character regarding the Shamantaka jewel. This concludes the story number 4 of Lord Ganesha and the moon. Please give a big round of applause. Story number 5. Lord Ganesha and his role in the story of Ravana and Atmalinga. Let us enjoy the story of Ravana and Atmalinga. This story also tells us about how the holy place Gokarna came into existence. Ravana, the king of Lanka, was an Asura, but he was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. He reached Mount Kailash and prayed to Lord Shiva.
Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
and said,
O Lord, please bless me so that my Lanka is never destroyed by anyone.
Lord Shiva was pleased by Ravana's presence and said,
Ravana, I am pleased with you. Take this Atma Linga with you, but do not put the Linga to the ground at any point. If you put the Linga to the ground, then the Linga will remain rooted at that spot.
The Devas were worried that the Atmalinga would add to the might of Ravana and that he could never be destroyed if he succeeded in taking the Atmalingam to Lanka. They prayed to Lord Ganesha for help.
Lord Ganesha, please help.
O Devas, please do not worry.
Lord Ganesha thought of a plan and accordingly made the sun set earlier than the normal time. Ravana, being a great devotee and a highly religious person, would never miss his evening rituals of Sandhya Vandana. So seeing the sun setting, he started looking for someone to hold the linga so he could have a bath and do his Sandhya Vandana. As per Ganesha's plan, Ganesha appeared before Ravana as a cowboy. Ravana handed over the Atmalinga to the boy and said,
Oh boy, I am the king of Lanka. My name is Ravana. Please hold this linga for me until I come back. Do not put the linga onto the ground at any cost.
Okay, Ravana, I will hold the linga for you. But if I get too tired, I'll call your name 3 times, and if you don't come and take the linga, I will place it on the ground.
Okay boy, I agree to the condition.
Soon Ganesha got tired holding the linga and called out Ravana's name 3 times.
Ravana! Ravana! Ravana!
And since Ravana could not come and take the linga, Lord Ganesha placed the linga on the ground. This enraged Ravana, and Ravana tried to remove the linga from the ground. But in spite of using all his might, he could not budge the linga. Though the lingam could not be moved, the pressure from Ravana's hands had changed its shape like the ear of a cow, and hence the place came to be called Gokarna. The linga itself came to be called Mahabaleshwara, since it could not even be shifted by the mighty Ravana. This concludes the story of Ganesha, Ravana and the Atmalinga. Please give a big round of applause to all the participants. Story number 6. The story of Lord Ganesha and Kubera. We should never take undue pride in our material or spiritual accomplishments. The old saying, pride always leads to a fall, is proved true in the following story. Kubera, the god of wealth, invited Shiva and Parvati to dinner, wishing to show off his riches.
Holy couple, I would like to invite you to dinner at my place.
But the couple denied Kubera's request and said,
O Kubera, we will not be able to attend the dinner, but please take Ganesha with you instead.
Kubera laughed and said,
I can feed thousands of children like this.
Ganesha went to his palace and sat down to eat. He started eating all the food placed in front of him. As was the custom, more and more food was served to him, as he did not say that he had enough. Soon there was no more food in the palace, and so Kubera ordered his troops to get more food from the surrounding villages. But Ganesha continued eating, and there was no more food to be found. Still very hungry, Ganesha started eating all the furniture. Kubera became very frightened, and Ganesha told him,
You promised my parents you will feed me. Now I have to eat you up as I am still very hungry.
Kubera ran away and pleaded with Shiva and said,
Oh Lord, please, please save me from Ganesha.
Shiva asked Kubera,
O Kubera, give up your pride and save Ganesha a handful of rice.
Kubera went back to his palace. By this time, Ganesha's stomach had become very huge, but the child was still hungry. When Kubera served a cup of rice with humility, Ganesha's hunger was satisfied. This teaches the lesson that handful of puffed rice given with love and eaten with devotion is more important and filling than all the wealth of Kubera flaunted to impress the world and all the gods. This concludes the story of Lord Ganesha and Kubera. Let us all give a big round of applause to the participants. We have the last and final story of Lord Ganesha's marriage. Lord Ganesha had a lot of devotion towards his mother, and this is the reason why he is considered as a bachelor. To him, she was the most beautiful and a perfect woman, and so he vowed,
I will only marry the girl who would match up to my mother's beauty and divine qualities.
Hearing this, Lord Brahma created two beautiful girls. Lord Brahma created two beautiful girls, Siddhi and Buddhi. The two girls were married to Lord Ganesha. With his two consorts, he had two sons, Shubha and Labha. It is said that if one has Siddhi but does not have Buddhi, then it is worthless. Possessing only Siddhi without Buddhi is also futile. Lord Ganesha bestows both these blessings to his devotees. If we dwell into ourselves, we will realize that we are all Ganapatis, where Pati stands for the master and Gana is our body made of Pancha Mahabhutas. Thus, he shows us the way to achieve both intellect and wealth to enjoy a rewarding life. This concludes the last and final story of Lord Ganesha's marriage. Let us all give a big round of applause. We would like to conclude this performance by another small performance by doing the Aarti for Lord Ganesha. Please welcome the Aarti song with a big round of applause. Thank you. Ravi, Ravi, stop it.
धन्य तुम्हारो